welcome back to a new video. So if you don't already know me, my name's Becca. I've been traveling for the past 5 to 6 years, which is crazy. Obviously on and off, stopping to work in between. But today I wanted to share my top travel destinations and where I think you should travel to in 2024. So these are all based off personal experiences, and I'll give you a few little tips on my favorite places when I was there, what kind of thing you can do and expect to see. So the way I'm going to structure it, I have 6 destinations that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to do it in order, so I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. It is going to be really hard to rank them because they're all amazing places. I've absolutely loved each of these places and I would honestly go back. I guess without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to start with number 6 on the list, which is Croatia. And Croatia is such a beautiful, underrated country. It's in Europe. The specific place that we went to was Brela. We spent a week in Brela, so I haven't explored the rest of Croatia, but I would absolutely love to go back to explore more. Brela is this little coastal town. It's just south of Split. I think it might be a couple hours south of Split because it looks quite far on the map. There's great snorkeling, great kayaking. We did a little kayak trip, which was really good. It's probably one of the highlights of the trip, where we kayaked around this like beautiful like cave almost with rocks and cliffs surrounding us that you could jump from. The water was just so clear everywhere. We went snorkeling just like from the beach and it was amazing. So yeah, I'd highly recommend going there. It was very like small town vibes, really narrow like laneways with cobblestone, very old style, and absolutely loved it. So many cute cafes and restaurants as well. And I did a full vlog on it, so I'll link the vlog below if you want to see like everything we did when we were there. I was probably 18 when I went, so it was a long time ago and things could have changed now, but that's what it was like and it was absolutely beautiful. And then moving up to number 5 on the list. So number 5 on the list is the south of France. There is one place in particular that we absolutely loved. So me and Amelia, one of my best friends from back home in Sweden, we went in 2019 when we did our little backpacking trip. We backpacked a tiny bit of Asia and then we did busing through Europe. I know a lot of people do interrailing through Europe, which looks amazing, but we actually found that the buses were cheaper. We did a couple overnight buses as well, so we were saving a lot of money just by sleeping on the bus. But yeah, we went to Nice, which was really beautiful. Obviously everyone knows about Nice. Obviously it was like quite touristy and there were a lot of people, but really beautiful. I think we had the best gelato ever in Nice. And again, for this, I'll link my vlog below if you want to see everything in detail that we did. It is quite close to Monaco, so we did take the train over to Monaco for a day, just to spend the day, which was actually really cool, but it's so expensive, so we did not want to stay there. We had a meal though, which was probably the most expensive meal we had on the whole trip. But then the main place I want to talk about is the one that we did on our way back to Nice from Monaco. It's a tiny little place called Cap d'Isle. I'm probably butchering that name, but it was like out of a movie, out of like a postcard. It was like, how is this real life? It was surrounded by mountains. The water was the bluest I've ever seen. It was this small little cute beach. There was one little restaurant on the beach. We went in springtime though, so it was a tiny bit cold, but the sun was out. It was beautiful. It did feel like we were in a film. It's just one of those places that's still like so clear in my memory because of how beautiful it was. It was a bit hard to find, I will say. We walked like the wrong way so many times. I think we were doing it without any data, so we did lose ourselves a lot of the time and we couldn't find our way. If I would have had an eSIM back then, if I would have had an Olaflight eSIM, I would have been fine. And that's kind of transitioning into the sponsor of today's video. But yeah, I want to take a quick ad break and thank today's sponsor of the video, which is Olaflight. If you have been following me for a while now, you will know that I absolutely love Olaflight eSIMs and I've been raving about them since I found out about them. I honestly don't know how I traveled before Olaflight eSIMs. If you don't know what an eSIM is, it's basically a SIM but without the card. So you don't need a SIM card. It's a digital SIM card. It's so easy to install. It only takes a couple minutes. You get this email with a QR code that you scan on your phone and then it installs and you have a digital SIM card. Basically it activates as soon as you land in a new country, so you don't have to go around for days trying to find the best SIM card deal. There's not that language barrier, and they have data packages in over 170 different destinations. So wherever you want to go, wherever your next trip is, I am sure they will have a SIM plan for you, so go check that out. And for all of the locations I'm mentioning today, they have data plans, which is amazing. So if you want to plan a trip to here, I'd highly recommend. As I said, it's really quick and easy to install. You can still keep your original SIM card in your phone, which is great because sometimes you'll get that you have to verify your phone number, and then if you're in a new country with a totally new SIM card, so a lot of the times you'll be stuck. I was locked out of like my bank and so many different things when I first came to Australia just because I couldn't confirm my phone number, because obviously I didn't have it in my phone. I had my new SIM card in my phone, but with the eSIM you can switch between your original SIM and your eSIM, which is just amazing. And it's great for those situations when you're trying to find your way maybe to your accommodation, or you're trying to find your way to this beach that you really want to see. Like if we had it when we were in France, that would have been amazing, because we could have just easily found our way to the Cap d'Isle beach without spending like an hour on taking the wrong direction. And because it is unlimited data as well, you don't have to worry about any extra charges, being charged for extra data or running out. You can also, in Europe, you can make free calls as well on it, which is amazing. They have one data plan, which is Europe, so it includes the whole of Europe, so you don't have to keep buying new plans for each new country you visit. And another thing is that they connect to the strongest data provider in each destination, so you'll always have the strongest, fastest internet connection. If you want to save yourself some money and make your travels a lot more stress-free, I'd highly recommend getting an eSIM. You can check it out with the link below and use my discount, which is Rebecca Ellie, for a 5% discount, so save some more money. Let me know if you use it and what you think. And yeah, let's get back into the video. So I'm gonna put Australia as number 4 on my list just because I've been speaking about Australia so much. I have so many other videos on Australia travel tips and where to travel in Australia. So I'm gonna try and keep this short, but it's gonna be hard because I have so much love for Australia. Obviously, if you guys know me, I came to Australia for a 3-month holiday. Then COVID hit, I decided to stay. I did a lap around Australia in my van and I absolutely fell in love with the country. So the top place to travel when you first come to Australia is usually the East Coast, and the East Coast is absolutely insane. It's home to obviously the Great Barrier Reef. I did my intro dive there. You can also become a certified dive on the Great Barrier Reef, which is insane. A lot of people would do the whole journey, so they'll travel from Melbourne all the way up to Cairns, which I highly recommend, or even from Sydney all the way up to Cairns, and then fly down and see Melbourne at a different point. It depends kind of where you land in Australia. You can always do the other way as well. But my top places on the East Coast are the Great Barrier Reef, Magnetic Island. It's beautiful. It's the best place to spot wild koalas and actually rock wallabies as well. And you can feed the rock wallabies and they're so cute. And you can drive around these little like open top Barbie cars on the island, which is really fun. And then there's obviously the Whitsundays and Whitehaven Beach, which was voted one of the top beaches in the world. Just a really cool iconic spot. You can do like overnight boat tours to the islands, or you can do a day trip. You can also do like a fly and raft, like a scenic flight over the Great Barrier Reef, which I really regret not doing. I almost want to fly up to Early Beach just to do the scenic flight. You've also got Gari, which used to be called Fraser Island. A lot of people know it as that still. It's this beautiful island. It's a massive island. You go camping on it. You've got the best stargazing. You go on these 4-wheel drive cars and just like drive on the sand. The whole island is sand, which is really cool. So there aren't actually any roads, but they have beautiful, like crystal clear blue lakes, like Lake Mackenzie. And then they have like a creek that you can float down, which is called Eli Creek. It's just a stunning place to go. A lot of people that come out will do like a 3-day tour there. So you're like camping with a group of people and it's a really good bonding experience. You meet a lot of people on that tour. And then obviously Noosa is one of my top places on the East Coast as well. Just this really beautiful little surfy town. If you want to travel Australia and do the East Coast, I highly recommend Welcome to Travel's tours. Also, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know this is the best place to meet friends, get set up for your time in Australia, and just make the most out of your time in Australia. So they actually have a 30-day East Coast tour, which is great value for money, and you get to see all of those places that I was talking about and so much more. And they have a lot more inclusions as well, and accommodation included. Transport is already sorted, like pretty much everything is sorted for you. They do have a few optional add-on extras that you can book as well, but yeah, if you want to save some more money on that, you can also use my code, which is EC Rebecca Ellie, and I have all my other Welcome to Travel tour discounts linked below for you to check out, because I have discounts for the welcome tours as well, which are just the 8-day tours if you wanted to do like a little shorter tour. Sorry for going on about this, but this is a new thing that I actually haven't mentioned to you guys before. But if you want help with planning a trip in Australia but you don't want to do a group tour, you can also get in touch with Welcome to Travel, because I've partnered up with Welcome to Travel. You can basically fill out this form with where you want to go, what you want to do, what type of trip you want to have, and someone from the Welcome to Travel community team will get back to you and they will help you plan a trip together, and they're able to help you book and just, yeah, help you sort everything out. Because I know when you're coming out to Australia, it can be very overwhelming and it's like, oh, what's the best tour company to go with? What's the best hostel? Like it takes a long time to plan a big trip like that, and Welcome to Travel, they have some special discounts. They know the best places to go, the best tours to recommend, and it's all based on you as well, so it's very customizable. Maybe you're not a party person, you want a bit more like chill time, then you can let them know and they'll find more like chill tours. You can also book a travel call with someone from the team, so I'll have that linked below as well. But I have one more destination to mention it before we move on from Australia. I'm sorry, I have a more in-depth video on this as well, but the West Coast is one of my favorite spots in Australia. It's kind of the type of place where you go after you've already met some people on the East Coast maybe. It's also better to travel if you have a vehicle, so you can rent a car, you can rent a van, or you can join a group trip that travels parts of the West Coast. But it's amazing, like all of the beaches are so pristine, they're all white sand, they're all crystal clear water. It's a lot more like natural, very untouched, long distances between everything. So it is, for that reason, it is a little bit harder to travel as a backpacker, and that's why I would recommend doing it as a group tour. It's where you can swim with whale sharks, you can do like snorkel with sea lions. I've had some of my absolutely most favorite memorable experiences in Australia on the West Coast, and that's where I got my little whale shark tattoo. I got it in Margaret River after I did the snorkeling with whale sharks. You just have to make sure you go in the whale shark season. So the whale shark season this year is from March to August. We went just outside of whale shark season, but because they have spotter planes up looking for the whale sharks, we still did manage to get in and swim with one. That's on the Ningaloo Reef, which is located outside of Exmouth and Coral Bay, which are like an hour away from each other. Both of those places are some of my top places in Australia. In Coral Bay, I'd highly recommend just going to the main beach and renting a snorkel and just going out, and you can see so much because the reef is just right there. You can also book onto a manta ray tour, which we did as well. Sadly, I lost most of my footage from that, but the manta rays are absolutely stunning and they're so big. And then there's Karajini National Park as well, which is a little bit more inland on the West Coast, which I highly recommend. You could honestly spend like 5 days there. I would though recommend doing it in a 4-wheel drive, because we did it in our van, which is only 2-wheel drive, and there are so many unsealed roads and we had to drive literally like 10 kilometers an hour. So moving on to the third place on my list is Indonesia, more specifically Bali. I went here in 2019 with my friend on my backpacking trip that I was talking about before. But yeah, Bali was one of the places we went to, which we absolutely loved. We spent a lot of time in Canggu, which is more like the party area. It's very social, a little bit more Western as well. You have so many like acai bowl places, smoothie bowls everywhere. It is amazing for meeting people, having a good time. They have a really nice hostel as well, which is called The Farm. I don't know if it still exists, but it's got a pool. They had like a barbecue every Sunday, which was amazing. We really loved it. So other places I'd highly recommend are Ubud. Ubud have the rice fields, really stunning, really cool to see. And then our Uber driver, that I think it was Gojek. Anyway, our driver, we were just like, we want to go exploring some waterfalls. So he took us to this waterfall around the Ubud area. I'll put it on the screen if I can find it, but it was absolutely stunning. It was this like really big, beautiful waterfall. You could go swimming there. And then another place in Bali that I'd highly recommend is Uluwatu. Uluwatu is really nice. It wasn't as touristy when we were there as like Canggu, and same with Ubud. It also had a bit more like local, authentic feel. But yeah, Uluwatu had the most beautiful beaches, great surf spots. We rented a surfboard together and we went out and tried surfing there. Oh yeah, that's another thing I was going to mention. Canggu is great for the surf camps. We did Mojo Surf in Canggu. and it was the most fun ever. Like that was what started my love for surfing. So you can choose how many days you want to do. We did 2 days, but you can do a full week, and it's great for meeting people because they will have like activities on in the evening and your accommodation is included as well. So I highly recommend that if you're interested in learning how to surf. It's a great spot to do it. Another place that I really want to go if I go back to Bali is Lombok. It's supposed to be this really cool island with a lot of surf, and everything is also obviously super cheap there, which is great. When we were there, it was really cheap anyway. And they have the best food, like nasi goreng and mee goreng, the best. Like it's still one of my go-tos when I go out to eat. I'm like, if they have nasi goreng, I'm like, I'm having that. It's amazing. It's like fried rice or fried noodles with like vegetables, and sometimes you have it with an egg. So nice. Moving on to number 2. So number 2 on my list is Thailand, and I've been here twice now, and that just shows how much I love it. But there's so much to explore in Thailand. The first time I went on my backpacking trip in 2019 with Amelia, we visited like Phuket, the Phi Phi Islands, and Koh Lip. And oh my god, Koh Lip or Koh Lipi, I don't know how you pronounce it, but that was the most amazing place. Like it was so beautiful. There weren't so many backpackers when we were there because it is a little bit like further out than all the other islands, and it is a bit smaller, but it's very like pristine, untouched, beautiful beaches. And then obviously the Phi Phi Islands was really fun. There was a lot of like partying there, a lot of backpackers there, so that was a totally different vibe. So it depends what vibe you're going for, but I really loved both. And then recently when we and Tommy went, we visited Koh Samui and Koh Tao, and oh my god, we fell in love with Koh Tao. Koh Tao is probably my top place in Thailand, but then I haven't visited like the north, and there's so much more I want to see. Koh Tao is like, I think it's the cheapest place to go diving in the world. They have really cool diving. You can get your paddies there as well. We did a dive, but when we were there, it was quite murky in the water. They are also famous for the whale sharks there, but we didn't see a whale shark when we were there. We rented a scooter, just drove around the island. The island is really tiny as well. It has this really cool feel to it. It's a very charming little island. There's so many cool little lookout points. One of the restaurants that I absolutely loved is High the Moon Cafe. It's on this beautiful like lookout point. You have to drive a really steep hill to get up. Like when we were on the scooter, I was like, oh my god, am I gonna fall off? I had a pad thai there. It was amazing. The view is stunning. There's this like massive moon that lights up when it gets dark. Just you're sitting on this like wooden plank, just like looking over Koh Tao and the beaches, and it's just insane. We were staying at Saidang Resort because we were shooting content for them, and it was absolutely amazing. That resort is so stunning. But if you're more looking to stay in hostels and you don't really want to stay in a resort, you can still go to that beach because that is probably one of our favorite beaches on the island. It's great for snorkeling. So they have the Saidang beach, which is like the beach area, and then on the other side of that they have this rocky area where a lot of paid snorkel tours will go and bring their snorkelers, but I'm pretty sure you can get there even though you're not staying at the resort. But that was the best snorkeling. Like that was better than actually when we went on the dive because it was really super clear there. They had so many colorful fish, like beautiful reef. And I'm so sad because my GoPro was like broken when we were there, so we couldn't get any good footage. We only got like a couple seconds with like our iPhones in these like shitty little bags. And then number 1 on my list is the Philippines, and we were there last year. Me and Tommy went before we went on our trip back home. I have more vlogs coming from the Philippines, but I just want to talk about it now because it's my favorite place. Everything when we went in the Philippines was so cheap, and I thought it was way cheaper than Bali and Thailand, but we only had a week, so I'm sorry for the change in quality. Something has happened to my camera and I can't continue filming on it, so I'm gonna have to sort that out at a different time. But for now, I'm just gonna finish this video using my vlog camera, so I'm sorry for that. I hope it's okay anyway. But we really had to narrow it down to the places that we visited, because when we started doing research on the Philippines and how much there is to see there and how many beautiful destinations there are there, it became very clear that you're gonna need like a month maybe to see it all, because there were so many places that we were like, oh my god, we have to go back and go there. But we did narrow it down to kind of like 2 places that we ended up exploring. So we ended up flying into Cebu because we really wanted to do the Kawasan Canyoneering. I don't know if I'm butchering that name, I hope not, but But everyone we spoke to, all of the videos that we looked at, they all included like the Mole Bowl Kawasan Canyoneering. So we wanted to book it, and we were actually really late on booking it. So I think all of the group tours were already full. So I ended up booking a private tour, which ended up being way better anyway, and great value for money. We got to do a zip line as well. We had to pay extra for the zip line, but it was so worth it. I almost got it on my GoPro, but just literally the video where we were filming that we were on the zip line, that was the video that was corrupt, and I was so scared. I was almost gonna chicken out, but I did it, and it was honestly really fun, and it was the first time I ever did a zip line. I'd never done anything like that. You get to just like go through this whole like waterfall area, jump off cliff, and obviously everything was safe. The guide that we had, he'd been doing it for 10 years, so he knew like where was safe to jump and where wasn't. But they also had a really cool rope swing, which was nice. It was insane. So we did that, and then we literally spent like 1 or 2 nights around the airport, like Lapu Lapu. We stayed at a really nice hotel there, which I can actually recommend. I'll put it on the screen. We ended up we got transport, which was included in our private tour. So they picked us up from our hotel, and it was like a 2-hour drive in the morning down to Mole Bowl for the Kawasan Canyoneering. So I will mention that it is like, if you don't stay in Mole Bowl and you go like straight from the airport area, it is a 2-hour drive in the morning. And then after that, we ended up flying to Puerto Princesa to stay in El Nido, and oh my god, we absolutely loved El Nido, and it is one of the most popular places to go probably, but for a very good reason. You can do so many boat tours from there. There's a lot of different ones to choose from. There's like A, B, C, and D. We ended up picking tour A, and we did it as a private tour, which we are so glad at. It was such great value for money. We had like 3 boat crew. They made us the most delicious lunch ever. We had a private lunch on the beach to ourselves. We got to spend as much time as we wanted in each destination, and obviously it wasn't as crowded because we were the only people on the tour. So I'd highly recommend doing a private tour. It's probably around $100 for one person, so it was really, really worth it. And yeah, El Nido was just so beautiful. It had such a cool vibe to it. There were a couple restaurants that we went to that were amazing. One of my top ones that I'll recommend is Food Truck, I think it was called.
Yes, Food Truck.
Yeah, it was a food truck. It was such good pad thai. And the resort that we stayed at in El Nido was amazing. It had the most stunning view over like the mountains and the ocean. And that resort was called S Resort, and really great value for money. Obviously there are a lot of great hostels there as well that people always recommended, but because we're traveling as a couple, we kind of like to have our own space. Also, when we were there, we rented a scooter with the resort, which was really good. We could have probably found it cheaper elsewhere, but it was just easy. Like they just sorted it out for us. Some of the places we went to were Yuli Beach, which was the surf beach. There was like one person surfing there because it was really flat at that point, but it's a really beautiful drive, and the beach was really lovely. There were a couple dogs on the beach, and there was like a little surf shack, which was really cute, and they sold some like drinks and ice creams and stuff like that. And then Vanilla Beach was probably one of our favorites that we kept coming back to. This was like the best sunset spot. Really, really beautiful. A lot of restaurants along the beachway, so you could literally sit down. Like if you go for happy hour, it's the best because you can get a cocktail, sit on these cool like bean bags on the beach, and just watch the sun go down. I'll insert some videos because every single sunset that we saw from there was absolutely insane. Another really lovely beach that we went to was called Nakpan. This is like the longest beach ever with so many palm trees. There's a couple restaurants there as well, so you can go for lunch, and they sell fresh coconuts pretty much anywhere you go in the Philippines. So the other place that we were choosing between when we were going to go to the Philippines was Coron, because we did some research, and that was another place that looked absolutely insane. It looked a bit less touristy, like a little bit more untouched, with maybe a little bit less to do there. So we did decide on El Nido just because the amount of tours and things that you could do from El Nido. There was also a zip line that you could do, which we didn't have the time to do. But then there is also a multiple day trip, like a boat trip that you can do that takes you to Coron, which looked absolutely insane. And I think if we go back, that would be something that's really cool to do. Also Siargao, which is supposed to be like the surf island, which we would really love to go to. And then there are so many other islands as well. We also did another dive on El Nido, which was insane. I actually preferred the El Nido dive to the Koh Tao dive. Could have probably been due to the weather and the visibility when we were in Thailand, but the Philippines dive was insane. They took us to so many cool different spots. I really recommend the company we went with as well. The water was like crystal clear. We saw turtles. Our dive instructor was really nice. They are my top recommendations of where to travel in 2024. If you have been to any of these places, or if any of these places are on your bucket list, let me know in the comments below. If you didn't already know, I'm looking to plan a group trip with a couple of you guys, so we can pretty much go wherever you like. Right now I just have a survey out just to see how many of you would actually be interested in joining me and to even make this possible. If you're like me and you have a massive goal for 2024, which is to travel more, which is what I really want to do. I want to travel more, I want to create lots of cool content, I want to meet a lot of you guys and just, yeah, meet more like-minded people. And I thought, what better way to do that than to do a group trip? So if you want to do that, please head to the link below in my description. I know I'll have so many links down there, but you can find all of my links in my link tree as well, but I'll list them below with what they are as well, so you can find it easily. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this gave you some more travel inspiration, and can't wait to see what my 2025 top travel destinations are, because hopefully I will have added a couple to the list. But yeah, follow my socials if you want to stay more up to date with what I'm doing and the trip. Yeah, my life basically. But yeah, don't forget to check out Olafly if you are planning a trip to any of these destinations. I know if I do end up doing my group trip this year, I will 100% be going with Olafly for my eSIM to make my life so much easier. The Olafly link is below. Don't forget to use my discount code Rebecca Ellie to save some more money, and I will see you in my next video. I love you all. Bye.